Here is Dr. Chaps.
We are joined now live via Skype from California with my new friend, but a longtime political activist, Larry Klayman, who is chairman and general counsel of Freedom Watch. Larry, welcome to the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
So we have interviewed your president, Tom Fitton, before, and you are the founder of Freedom Watch. Remind our viewers what you do.
Well, let me just say this, is that I'm not with Judicial Watch anymore. I am the founder. I was the general counsel and chairman. I left in 2003 to run for the U.S. Senate in Florida, and then I founded Freedom Watch. You can find that at freedomwatchusa.org.
Well, you are famous way back to the West Wing. I think there was a reference to you as Claypool. Weren't you the original lawyer in that spoof?
Well, they made me Harry Claypool of Freedom Watch. So when I came out of the U.S. Senate race, I started an organization. I thought it was a good name, called Freedom Watch. So that's what I've been doing since. And there is a difference between Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch, although I'm very proud of what I did at Judicial Watch, is that we bring really hard-hitting lawsuits. We're not bringing just Freedom of Information Act. That's primarily what Judicial Watch does today. They uncover documents. But we're in court actually filing lawsuits on behalf of clients and sometimes ourselves to try to bring about justice. We're, in effect, a private Justice Department. We're not just seeking transparency in government. We're seeking to do something about it when we uncover these scandals.
Well, and you are holding accountable, sort of, as you said, a shadow version of the Justice Department. But they're not going after Hillary Clinton the way that Donald Trump campaigned and expected to. Instead, Mueller and Comey appear to be going after Donald Trump. What is your take on all this?
Well, that's a big mistake on behalf of the Trump administration. They, like everybody else, it's understandable. I went through this myself in early years. You think because people are talking nice to you that they're not going to stab you in the back. Well, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, they've been trying to destroy the president. And we're doing whatever we can. Of course, we're nonpartisan, and we call it as we see it, and we've been critical from time to time. I thought that the embassy should have been moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem most recently. But we're taking whatever action we can to make sure that this president has a chance to succeed. And, of course, the Clintons are out there. She's not going away, Hillary Clinton. I call her the wicked witch of the left. And she's still riding her broomstick, throughout the United States and the world. She wants to be president, and there are others on the Democrat side that want to be president. And couple that with the Republican establishment, led by the likes of John McCain, who absolutely hates Trump, who doesn't want to see him succeed, and Senator Richard Burr, head of the Senate Intel Committee. The establishment wants their candidate to run for president in 2020 in the Republican side, and they're also trying to destroy the president. So he needs to be more aggressive, and he needs to fight back. And with regard to Special Counsel Mueller, I've had experience with him for a number of years. He's not a man of great integrity. When you hear those words in Washington, look out, because that's the company line. They have a lot of these very inexperienced commentators on TV. They think that that's something to say. Even Trey Gowdy on the House Government Reform Committee made that statement lately. He doesn't know. He didn't work with Mueller. But I worked during the time that Mueller was FBI director, and he covered up Saudi money laundering in this country, I think primarily because the Bush family, W was president then, were very close with the Saudi family. I represented 2 FBI agents that he tried to drum out of the FBI who wanted to blow the whistle on this cover-up. And that money may have been used to, create the situation for 9/11, September 11th. And we also know that Mueller himself has been involved in illegal surveillance from our client, Dennis Montgomery. You can find out more about Mr. Montgomery by going to freedomwatchusa.org. But he's a former NSA and CIA contractor who left with 47 hard drives, 600 million pages of information, much of it classified. I've never seen it. Through a federal judge, I went to James Comey at the FBI. I got immunity for Montgomery to testified for 3 hours under oath. And he's privy to massive illegal surveillance, much of which had been disclosed by Snowden, but even more so. And Mueller was involved in that. And so was Comey. So these people are corrupt, Mueller and Comey, and they're sitting on top of an investigation now. Comey is a witness, Mueller is a special counsel, which is designed to destroy the president of the United States. I hate to be that direct, but that's where it's going.
So
And
that gets
both the
to the.
Republicans
I'm
and
trying
the
to figure out
Democrats.
the political motives here, because Mueller was a Bush appointee. He was appointed to the FBI in 2001. He had all of that time, I guess, overlapped and was succeeded by Comey. So Mueller and Comey are buddies. They each ran the FBI for their successive terms. But why would a Republican-appointed special counsel like Mueller now hire Clinton cronies and Clinton lawyers from the Clinton Foundation to help him with this special investigation against Donald Trump?
That's a good question, because in Washington, it's all part of a club, okay? I've always said, quoting Groucho Marx and Woody Allen, I don't want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member. Believe me, they would have been happy to have me as a member, because that would have neutralized me. But it's all a club in Washington. The Democrats and Republicans, they're part of one league. They're like the National Football League. I would call it the National Corruption League. And there are very few people who are independent. Trump wants to break that club up, as I did when I ran for the U.S. Senate and as I do at Freedom Watch. And that's why he's a target. As far as Mueller's concerned, Mueller may have been appointed by George W. Bush. He was. But he's a political animal in Washington, D.C., and so are the rest. And as I said, Trump went up against the establishment. The establishment must now destroy him because it threatens their hold on power and their hold on money. And that's why I am who I am. That's why, I see myself as the People's Justice Department, because although I like Attorney General Jeff Sessions, I think he's a fine man and honest, the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who actually was U.S. Attorney under Obama in Maryland, is the one who appointed Mueller. He's not someone like Sessions, unfortunately, and he too is a political animal. Sessions, of course, is as well, but he's very much of a partisan conservative and Democrat, and that's how we got Mueller in this position of power. He's friends of Comey, just as you said, yeah. And he's hired people who, frankly, would like to see the president dangling from a rope.
So there's some irony here, and that was
figuratively, literally.
The irony was pointed out in Donald Trump's tweet this week, and that is Rosenstein recommended in a full-page letter that Comey be fired. And now Rosenstein has appointed Mueller to investigate Trump about why Comey was fired. So isn't Rosenstein now betraying his own recommendation to the president?
I don't know if he's betraying it. People are who they are. I don't want to say anything negative about Rosenstein or his motives, but he made a mistake. And he's naturally inclined to make that mistake because he's part of this Washington establishment that rose through the ranks and became U.S. Attorney in Maryland for Obama by, frankly, playing both sides. Now, and that's the problem. And now the country has a real problem with Mueller because he's not a man of integrity. And, of course, we know that Comey's not as well. So I brought a lawsuit. Go to freedomwatchusa.org against James Comey, against the National Security Agency, against the CIA, against the Director of National Intelligence and others for obstruction of justice, covering up what Montgomery gave them. Because this investigation of Montgomery, this mass surveillance that Mueller and then Comey have been involved with, violating Fourth Amendment constitutional rights, this is a crime to surveil people without probable cause in this country that they're committing a crime or communicating with terrorists. These people are dirty, and they're the ones that should be prosecuted, not the President of the United States. And we're in a very dangerous situation, and that's why I hope that people will go to our website at freedomwatchusa.org, support us, because we are your private Justice Department. I'm a lawyer of 40 years. I'm a trial lawyer. I know my way around the courthouse, and although we don't always get the judges we hope to, because 70 to 80% now are Clinton and Obama appointees, sometimes we do break through. And in this case, we have a really fine judge, Richard Leon. This is the case that we brought against Comey and their corrupt intelligence agencies.
I agree with you. Let's take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Larry Klayman about his strategy to hold Hillary Clinton accountable right after this. Okay, we're back from a short break. Larry Klayman is a prosecuting attorney with Freedom Watch. Larry, tell us about your strategy with Hillary Clinton. She had more collusion with Russia. She had her, 45,000 emails that were hidden on a server. What should happen with Hillary?
Well, she should be part of that special counsel investigation, but don't count on it. The Clintons have always been above the law. We still have cases pending. I sued her for Charles Woods, the father of Ty Woods, Patricia Smith, the mother of Sean Smith, who died in Benghazi. That private server that she was using, which was illegal, gave up the coordinates of Ambassador Chris Stevens, which resulted in the deaths of their sons. And I sued for wrongful death, and I sued for defamation because Hillary Clinton called them liars when she repeated the falsities that she had stated, that this was just simply the result of people that were upset about a video criticizing the Prophet Muhammad. It was Al-Qaeda, and she knew it. This case is in the courts, and this is an example of the difference between Freedom Watch and Judicial Watch today. For instance, we're bringing the same hard-hitting cases that I brought at Judicial Watch when I was running it, and we're going to seek to hold her accountable. She's very vulnerable in that case, and although a lower court judge, frankly a political hack appointed by Obama by the name of Amy Berman Jackson, dismissed it recently, it was a phony dismissal. It's up on appeal. I'm confident it'll go back on appeal and will proceed forward. She dismissed it on the eve of Memorial Day. Our Gold Star parents, it was a real insult to them and a slap in their face. And this is what we face in the judiciary, is that they're highly politicized today. We're up against that. We have a good judge in the case that we filed against Comey. Again, go to freedomwatchusa.org. We hope you'll contribute to our cause. We need to ramp up. But we are fighting, and we're doing the best we can peacefully and legally. We're not like the left. We don't resort to violence. We don't resort to shooting people or beating them up. We also have a lawsuit against Berkeley, the University of California, Berkeley, for beating up a young woman who was there, who came to see Milo from Breitbart, the reporter, speak. She's a Trump supporter. We're doing everything we can to bring about justice, because frankly, we can do things that even Jeff Sessions' Justice Department can't for political reasons. So we will hold Hillary accountable eventually. As you may know, I'm the only lawyer ever to have her husband, found to have committed a crime during the Clinton White House years. I have the experience to do it, and with God's help, perhaps we'll succeed.
So you were the watchdog lawyer who went after Bill Clinton. Was that related to his lying under oath or the reasons that he was later recommended for impeachment by the House? Remind our viewers.
Well, I actually played a role with Congressman Bob Barr at the time. He's a good friend in having Clinton impeached. Okay, but unfortunately, they impeached him for Monica Lewinsky. That wasn't going to be the knockout punch. Clinton had been taking money under the table from the communist Chinese and returning favors, among many other bribes and crimes. And I actually obtained a ruling that Bill Clinton had committed a crime when he released the Privacy Act protected file of a woman that he sexually harassed in the Oval Office, Kathleen Willey. I represented not just her, but Jennifer Flowers, Dolly Kyle Browning, Juanita Broderick, and even Paula Jones, because Hillary Clinton and her husband were out to destroy these women, particularly during the Lewinsky scandal. But I was not involved in the sex part of that scandal. As bad as it was, lying under oath, Bill and Hill had committed many more crimes than that. That was probably the least of what they did, other than Hillary's trying to steal the White House furniture on the way out the door in 2000. So there was no crime that's beneath the Clintons. They are, frankly, for lack of a better word, please excuse this, they're white trash. And that's the way they've been. They're criminals through and through, and they need to be held accountable, and we're continuing to move forward in that regard.
Well, and some of your clients are related to the Benghazi scandal. When she was Secretary of State, she left Ambassador Stevens out to dry, so to speak, and he lost his life. And those four heroes never did get justice. But then, when she was running for president, there was this whole scandal about the Clinton Foundation, which received money from Russia. I think Bill Clinton was given a $500,000 speaking fee from Russia. So if Hillary Clinton had won the presidential election, do you think there would be a special investigator investigating how Hillary colluded with Russia to enrich her own private foundation?
Absolutely not. There wouldn't have been. And, why are they proceeding against Trump now? They claim they had information of the so-called Russian connection. Well, I doubt that there's any Russian connection to speak of. If there's a Russian connection, it's probably Bernie Sanders. His supporter just shot up a lot of Republicans in Alexandria, Virginia last week. Bernie, as we affectionately call him, honeymooned in Moscow. You could probably do a Hollywood movie called Honeymoon in Moscow with Bernie starring at the lead role. So if there's a Russian connection, it's not on the Trump side. It's actually on the Democrat side. This is all trumped up, no pun intended. And the fact that now they're looking at the president, this wouldn't have happened even to him if he had lost. But since he's now in power and he's breaking up the establishment in Washington on both the Democrat and the Republican side, he is squarely a target of both establishments in their political parties. Now, we need to hold Hillary Clinton accountable. She's not going away. She's working with Obama, who lives in his $8 million mansion in Colorado, Washington. He's working with George Soros, the self-hating financier who collaborated with the Nazis in World War II, believe it or not, unbelievable. And they're trying to bring this country to an atheist foundation and a socialist foundation. They're trying to destroy the country. And that's why we, the American people, need to rise up peacefully and legally and oppose it. Not the way it was done in Alexandria, but in a way that we can, as best we can, in the courts and through the court of public opinion. And I hope, I've got to run right now, thank you for having me on, but I hope to come back and explain it in greater detail, because it's very important what you're doing to get the word out to the American people, particularly among people of faith, because we are at risk here. People on the left want to destroy us, and we are in a war, and we cannot mince words. We have to do legally what we can do right now to protect ourselves as well as the president.
I want to personally thank you for defending the Constitution, especially the Fourth Amendment. Keep the government from spying on American citizens. We'll do a whole segment on that next time you come back. Our guest has been Larry Klayman, freedomwatchusa.org. Please donate at his website, freedomwatchusa.org.